Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. This is Jasmine. I'm the founder of Afixify and, of course, your host for Industry Chats. And we go live, if you're new to the show, every Wednesday at 12 o'clock p.m. Central. And we talk about all things travel and hospitality in an educational forum. I say it's 12 o'clock Central, but I'm actually welcoming my friend Roger Graham, who is overseas in Australia, and it is 3 o'clock in the morning for you, Roger. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us at such an hour. So I was telling Roger, I hope he can go back to sleep after this. I'm honored that you're here this early. But Roger, thank you for joining and tell us a little bit about you and about Orana Stay. You're the founder, CEO. So I always love to hear it from our founders' words.
Sure. Well, welcome everybody. I'm Roger Graham from Orana Software, and today we're talking about Orana Stay. I always like to tell people what Orana or Orana, depending which side of the Pacific you're on, actually means and where we got it from. When we set up the business during COVID and all those fun times that we all remember, we wanted something that was really welcoming. And what Orana actually stands for in the Pacific Islands is welcome. So the product name was actually Welcome to Your Stay. That's where we originated. That's where we started. Because we wanted something that really drove what the whole concept of our business was. So that's what it means. A lot of people ask me that, and that's the basic answer. What do? We do guest experience, but from before the guests even arrive, so from the time of booking to well after they end. That's effectively what we do. And obviously with Jasmine, we'll go through a bit more detail shortly.
I love that. Well, I learned something already. So I did not know what that meant. And Roger, can I ask a little bit about your background? What got you passionate about guest experience in the stay?
So many years ago, we actually had a short-term rental up in Queensland, and we lived there, and it was something that we've always enjoyed. And the one thing we learned during the COVID, Australia went a little bit bananas with COVID, and you couldn't go anywhere. And we eventually went to places, and one of the things that struck us is we could never find anything. We got 4 kids. And when you travel with 4 kids, there's always one that's complaining, hey, I'm hungry, or I want to go to the beach, or all these kind of things. And to find that information we found was really difficult. And what we want to do is I'd exited my previous business, which was financial software. And we want to start something new that actually gave back to the community, gave back to guests, etc. That's kind of how we got into it. My background is accounting, but my background's also software.
Yeah.
So being able to merge the two and actually create something that was unique was really how we started.
Well, and I have 3 kids, so you guys beat me by 1, but traveling is exactly that. And that is a reason that we stay often. I mean, we do, if we do a hotel, it's like they got to have free breakfast. They got to have,
Correct.
a pool because I have 3 boys. So I can very much resonate with your story
Yes.
and all of that. But that's so intriguing. And so you guys service hotels, but do you also, from what I understand, service short-term rentals too, right?
Correct. Yes, we do both. They very similar hospitality wise. A hotel versus a short term rental, very similar concept. It's all about hospitality. It's looking after the guests. So yes, we do both.
Okay. Yeah, no, this is so great. So we're talking today, and I'm excited about this topic just because we get a host of different guest experience topics. But what's so cool about this is like we're really talking about when does that guest experience start? And you said it in the pre-show notes, which I really appreciated. It's not starting when I walk into the door, right? And so tell me a little bit about, and you guys probably have a lot of like data and information behind this, but when is that guest stay in your experience like really beginning the brand experience, if you will?
Absolutely, and I'm glad you said that. It's the brand experience. A lot of people misinterpret how important that is. What we've actually worked out, and I've got to be honest, setting up this business, it was a learning curve.
Yeah.
We just thought, oh, well, we'll do a guidebook, send the guidebook out, and you've got a happy guest. And it's not like that at all. We've learned some lessons
Always.
along the way.
Always.
The guest experience really starts from the minute they book. And our software is really adapted and changed for that. We are across quite a few hotels at the moment. And what we've really worked out in the space is that there's actually 4 pillars when it comes to guest experience. The 4 pillars is your front desk or your property manager, depending. I mean, you also get hotels that are like owner based. So you get your front desk / your property managers. You obviously got the guests themselves. You've then got your back office staff, and everyone kind of forgets about this, your cleaners, your maintenance staff, etc. And in a lot of cases, you've got the owners. That might be the owner of the hotel. It could be owners of individual units in a hotel or owners of a property. And they all feed into the guest experience. And this is something we never actually realized in the beginning, is that how important this is. And a little example for us, we went away to a really fancy hotel. They offered us like a special where we could have buffet breakfast, and we could get champagne on arrival and late checkout. It was a fantastic package. I mean, from a guest, you think, wow, this is fantastic. But when we got there was no champagne in the room because no one had told the housekeeping. The buffet breakfast was perfect. And then the key cards all stopped working at 10 a.m. because they'd forgotten to tell the front desk that it was late checkout.
Oh, no.
So that kind of reinforced, well, you got to be able to communicate with all these people about the guest. It's not just the guest itself in isolation. And that's really what our software today actually does. It's not a fantasy world. We're actually doing that.
Yeah. Well, and what you're saying is like, oh, because I'm thinking, and tell me if I'm wrong here, but in your scenario, it sounds like the marketing team had a great idea for a package, right? Or an offer,
Correct.
But that wasn't communicated to those that are actually executing on that. And so then I think such a good point, those 4 pillars. And I was making a note of that for when we post about this later, because the 4 pillars make so much sense. And if those, what does a pillar do? It supports. And so those 4 things have to be in place in order for the guests to have that experience. And I guess from the outside, do you find that you're having to really train your customers in this as they onboard with the platform and help them understand?
So what we're finding, and admittedly, I always said, we'll just stick to one area and not diversify, do what we're best at. But what I've worked out in the hospitality, you can't actually do that.
Yeah.
You've actually got to have software in all of those 4 pillars to be able to deliver the guest experience. And that's really what we've changed. I mean, we started out being guidebooks. We don't do that anymore. I mean, we do. So the minute the guest books, they actually get an email from the hotel. And the one thing I should point out is we fully branded. So a guest doesn't get Orana Stay. They don't know who that is. They actually get the hotel's branding.
Okay.
So it's got to be an extension of your hotel, because your message, the guest is booked with you, and you need to carry that message all the way to the end. It's not about Orana. We're the tools, but your brand is the most important.
Yeah.
So the minute they get booked, they get an email. It might be that you have to do pre-check-in forms. Today, you really need to know your guests. So it's, for example, what's their payment details, need to sign agreements. I mean, one of our customers, the guest set off the fire alarm the other day. There's a fee for that. And everything's digital. So they just went into our software, clicked the agreement button, printed it out with all the signatures, gave it to the guest and said, we're charging your credit card. So it's been able to do all those things, but on one platform. And I think that's the difference is if you look at platforms today in a hotel or a short-term rental, it doesn't matter which space you're in. The amount of different software you have for different items now is becoming unmanageable. And each of those 4 pillars tends to run different software. It doesn't talk to each other. And it's fixing that gap. It's effectively what we're doing.
It's very alarming when you look at adoption rates right now of tech stack, because they're so low, because teams cannot keep up. They just can't.
It's too much.
It's too much. And even as a startup, we use a small stack, and even that is hard for me. And I'm imagining checking somebody in or managing, you're getting a charge here. So I think it's really phenomenal. You touched on something too. I'd love to get your thoughts on, especially as, with your tech background, but how do you approach integration here? Like, do you think integration is key so that we can also track all this in the PMS? And where's your line where it's like, we don't need that many integrations? Because that's a big topic, as you know.
It is a big topic, and there's PMSs and there's PMSs, unfortunately. So I have a bit of a, I suppose it's a moral outlook that I only deal with PMSs that don't charge for integrations, because I don't think you should be charging. That should be an open API. So we integrate with a lot of open API PMSs because, quite frankly, it's a two-way street. You give us information, but we'd always do two-way integration. So we also send information back to the PMS.
It's great.
So, for example, let's say a pre-check-in form and the guest updates the email or updates their phone number. We push that information back so that the PMS is always current and up to date.
Okay. That's great.
So yes, it's a very important part, and it always works best when you connect it to a PMS.
Right. Right. Well, and in two ways is, as we know, it should be the norm. It's not always the norm. So,
No, it's not always the norm. Yeah.
not always the norm. And in my days selling CRM, so many years ago, I worked for a hotel CRM company. And honestly, it was painful to see when the integrations were being charged for. I know this isn't the topic of our conversation, but it is relevant. That puts a huge gap for the hotelier, because a lot of times they
Right.
can't afford that, and now they can't use the tool that would really be the best tool for them. So what
Yeah,
you're saying, I'm like, I resonate, because these huge price tags just to integrate, to me, I never understood it. I don't know how common it is now compared to what it was, but I never understood that. So
no, it's kind of like who actually owns the data. In my opinion, it's the hotel owns the data. And they should be able to share that with whoever they need that gives them the best tool set to run the hotel. That's my take on it. And there shouldn't be a cost. I mean, there can be a low cost. In other words, there is a cost in terms of running that on infrastructure, but infrastructure today is so cheap compared to 10 years ago. There's no justification for the extreme costs we see.
Yes, that's exactly right. And I'm curious too. So now I could go down that rabbit hole quite a bit, but I do have a couple of questions just with your expertise. So in the guest experience, what do you see in your clients that are doing this really well? Of course, they're using your platform. So that is step one. They have the pillars. But is there something that our listeners can take from this as a tip or a trick where you're like, that's a great experience? Of course, we heard your not good experience. And it always seems to be when we're all traveling, right? Like the personal one. But what do you see going really well?
So what is going really well is the adoption from the customers. So the people that love us the most are actually the front desk. Because what it does is it takes away, front desks are very busy, especially during peak times, check-in, check-outs. And when you also got a guest that's trying to find out, well, where's the nearest restaurant, or how do I buy this upsell? I need extra linen, etc. It takes what our software does. It takes away that pain point for the front desk. It doesn't actually know the answer. They don't want to be recommending a place themselves. They don't really know the area, or they don't know the restaurant themselves, and they're telling a guest to go there. And if the guest does go there and is unhappy and comes back, they're going to kind of take it out on the front desk. So the front desk absolutely loves the software. Once that goes in, they push it to the guests as much as they can, because it just takes away that whole pain point. They can get through the genuine guest check-in, checking out. I should also point out that in our app, you can actually check in and check out as well. So,
wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So that actually also alleviates that pain point as well. So it becomes a seamless experience. I think the takeaway from any customer, the one that sings the most praises, is definitely the front desk. By a long shot.
Right. Yeah. I did not know that. I'm thinking of how convenient that is, especially for the guest. And I think even in my conversations with Karen on your team, you guys are fairly simple onboarding, right? I mean, and that's always a big win, because operationally we don't want some tech, you can't get around it. We know that, but some of it, if you can be quick to onboard, solve a problem, integrate well, I mean, you hit on the big three right there.
Correct. And I'm a firm adopter of AI. AI is definitely a tool. Now, the one caveat I will put on that is I don't believe AI should replace people in hospitality.
Yes, agreed.
It's got to complement people. And we've been very careful on where we've used AI, how we've used AI. One of the benefits we've really used AI is, for example, our guidebooks. To set up a guidebook generally is quite a time-consuming process. But we've got that down to about 3 to 5 minutes using AI. You've got to know what you're doing. There's no question. To think that you're just going to plug it into AI and it's done, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
But we can actually get a client up and running really, really quickly.
Phenomenal. Well, and the sooner you can get them up and running, the sooner they can service their guests better. And I'm very much of your stance as well, is if AI can solve a problem and contribute towards efficiency, perfect. I agree with you. I would not want to see the heart of hospitality lost in, machines, robotics, and AI. So
correct. And we've got a full unified messaging inbox at the back end that we use AI for. So it'll actually look at your messages coming in either from email, SMS, in-app chat, etc. And it actually, because we've got the 4 pillars, you'll say, hang on, this is a maintenance issue. Let's send it to someone who's maintenance, or it's a cleaning issue, etc. So the AI engine's there to kind of help our back end get it to the right person. It's not sitting in an inbox somewhere saying, hey, the water's not working in my hotel room and no one sees it for 2 to 3 hours kind of thing. It's all about escalation and task management effectively to escalate that through to the correct people to address it effectively. And that's really where I see AI working. It's those methodical, regular tasks that it really is fantastic with.
Yeah, I didn't even realize the AI play there. So that's where it should be used, right? I mean, that makes so much sense. It's a workflow, and then it helps everybody be more efficient.
And it does learn. So our system will self-learn as well. So as stuff comes in and you address stuff, it then learns what you did before. So then it starts applying that logic to stuff that comes in later. So it's really, really good on that side. But I wouldn't, and we do have a chat bot as well. I've got to be honest. We do in the app. People can actually talk to it. And I actually used it myself when I stayed in one of our customers' hotel rooms. Because I couldn't find the light switch. And I said, where's the light switch? And it told me. So I was very happy.
Yeah, that's a big thing. You got to know where the light switch is.
Yes. I love that. It's dark. I couldn't work out where anything was. So I just asked the AI agent in our own app. It's quite funny using my own software to get into a hotel room. But that's so weird.
I think that our developer calls that like drinking your own Kool-Aid, or maybe even more of a developer term there. But I think, anytime you can do that, and what a cool use case, because you can prove out like, hey, we built this. Plus that the light switch is a huge ordeal. So you gotta have light or not.
Exactly. Yeah.
One other question I have for you, Roger, is so of course we know like pre and mid stay, but what about post-stay? As far as the experience goes, do you have opinions on that? And when is that end point, or is it ever, that a guest has kind of completed the experience and, the job has been done for the brand?
So you've got two sides to this. You've obviously got the people that book through like Airbnbs and booking.coms, etc. They kind of tend to have this, they own the customer, they own the guest kind of thing. So it's a little bit more difficult, obviously, with our forms and stuff. You can collect that information and it puts it into our CRM that you can then use later. But really what you want to do when a guest departs is, you want to be able to ask them how their stay was. So that's really important. Get your rating, your 5-star rating. But then what you want to do is you want to be able to message them down the track. So think about, we got a lot of customers and hotels down in Florida. And what that's about is just keeping in touch via an email, and you can schedule the emails based on certain criteria. So you can also, in our app, we also have experiences, so you can book experiences in the local area, but we can keep track of what's been booked. So we can also then start using a lot of the logic, again, with AI, that says, these are the guests that booked this. Well, let's remind them in 6 months that these activities are now coming back up in the Florida area, etc. So it's about using that link you mentioned. You sold CRMs before. Yes. It's about putting that logic in the back end to be able to send it back to those guests, etc. I mean, the other thing we do is we've always got our back end, but we can also feed into other CRMs like HubSpot, etc. The guest info. So it just depends how the hotel. We're not rigid. We don't sit here and say you have to do it our way. We kind of work with our customers and work out what works best for them, because we're not the experts. The hotel is the expert.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's a great and a humble stance to take, right? I mean, we want them to teach us. One of our advisors, when we were starting, he said, your customers will tell you what you do. Your hotels are going to help you through, right? Like some of those things from their expertise. So, and then my last question. So I ask every guest this. I don't usually tell them because I love the organic response, nothing crazy, but have you had an aha moment, Roger, in this process, whether it was your aha moment of here's why we should start the company. I know you had the need, right? Traveling with your family, or is it an aha moment around AI, or kind of, have you had any of those in the last several years that you want to share? If not, that's okay.
No, we've probably had a few. I mean, I think the aha moment for me was realizing those 4 pillars, where you think, hang on, we're just going to do a guidebook and everyone's going to love it and go out and use it. But it's when you sit down, you think, well, hang on, there's a whole bigger picture to this than what we envisaged. We thought we had this little niche market, but the aha moment was we are just a pawn in a big ocean here, and we need to do what our customers want, and that's really giving an end-to-end solution. I think for me, that was the biggest aha moment.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's we've all probably had that in our startup stage of like, we had the idea of what it should be, and then our customers tell us something else, and we're like, aha, that's what we got to do, right? You got to follow the feedback. So I think that's great. And
yeah.
So obviously, first of all, it's just been a pleasure to have you. I could never be this awake at 3 a.m. So major kudos to you. Of course, for those listening live or watching later on YouTube or through our newsletter link, you can find Roger, Orana, or Orana. Tell me how you would say it. There's two ways.
It depends on which side specific. We say Orana, but North America says Orana. So
okay. So I'm more on the Australian pronunciation then. Yes, I say Orana. Maybe.
But when I'm in the US, I say Orana. So it's
okay, Orana. Well, I always say Orana, but either way, you guys can connect with Orana or Orana, Roger and Karen and team through Afixify. They're in our guest experience category. But also, Roger, where's a good place just to connect outside of Afixify? Is it LinkedIn, email?
LinkedIn is probably the best spot. Find me on LinkedIn, connect, say hello. I love chatting to people. So just even you say hello. I'm not going to try and sell you anything. I enjoy the chat.
I love it. Well, thank you for joining us. We will certainly be sharing this episode again on YouTube through our newsletter coming up in August. And for those watching, we'll be back next Wednesday, same time, 12 p.m. Central. We're actually booked out right now through November, so we have a lot of great content coming you guys' way. Roger, I hope you get some sleep after this. Thank you for joining me, and we will be back next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right.